Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 Build Power. Today is a great day of workshops and a panel this afternoon. This is our first workshop of the day to talk about the Action Builder and Action Network Sync. My name is Shelly Wen. I'm the Senior Organizing Data Strategist at the AFL-CIO. And it is so good to see all of you. And yeah, we'll have a great day. We're going to go ahead and put the agenda and the links for the rest of the day in the chat. We hope that you can join us for a panel this afternoon and another session on tips and tricks for Action Builder leads. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about effectively using the Action Builder, Action Network Sync. For those of you who have just come in, my name is Shelly Wen. I'm the Senior Organizing Data Strategist at the AFL-CIO. Welcome to Build Power 2025. We wanted to start off with a couple of questions for you all. If you could either open up your browser or on your phone, go to menti.com and enter the code. Um, we have a couple of questions for audience participation in this workshop. So go ahead and take a minute to log in to Menti. And once you're in, feel free to give a thumbs up to show that you've made it in. So we have 22 folks in right now. I'll give it a few more minutes. So good to see all of the thumbs up. It's kind of fun, isn't it? All right, so we have 30 folks in. If anybody joins later, you will be able to continue to join at menti.com with the code at the top. All right. So our first question is, what do you use Action Network for, if anything? Right, I'm going to go ahead and review some of the responses. We have things like, folks don't use Action Network at the moment. That's okay. Things like sending out newsletters, turnout, pressure campaigns, email forms, and folks that are here to learn more. That's awesome. So great to see all of the different variety of skill levels for folks who are using Action Network. Okay. And for those of you who are using Action Network, are you using the sync? Right, so we have a good number of folks who are already using the sync, but it seems like there's a plurality of people who are not using the sync or are unsure if they're using the sync. That's okay. I'll give like 30 more seconds to respond. Awesome. Well, I hope that even for those of you all who already use the sync, that you're able to learn something from today, or even just sharpen your use case for the Action Network and Action Builder sync. Okay. And our last question is, what questions do you currently have about the sync? And if you don't have any questions, feel free to just hit the thumbs up. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and show some responses. A lot of people are just curious about what it is, how customizable it is. There's some great questions about duplicates, learning about the sync, and just some best practices. Great. Okay. So, um, we're gonna just back up a little bit. Some of you all don't use Action Network at all. So just to give a brief overview on what Action Network is, it is a full suite of digital organizing tools, which is focused on mass mobilizations with emails, mobile messaging, letter campaigns, petitions, events, fundraising, and more. So if you RSVP'd to this event and you didn't just find the Zoom link somewhere, you've used Action Network. So that is a great example of a digital organizing tool that Action Network has. And give a thumbs up to this question if you would want to enter the information from the hundreds of Action Network RSVPs that we got from this event. I see one thumbs up, so I think one of you all really loves data entry, but I think the rest of us don't. And that is really what the Action Builder and Action Network Sync is for. It's to get information that is collected from one of these digital organizing tools from Action Network over to Action Builder. So I'm gonna go through some of the general steps of the Action Network and Action Builder Sync. I'm not gonna go into super detail on this. There is a there is an Action Builder 100 series where there is a full hour training on the basic steps of setting up the Action Network Action Builder sync. I believe Jen just put it in the chat. Thank you, Jen. So the first step is to find your API key on Action Network and add it to Action Builder integrations. This only needs to be done one time. The next step is to set up your magic tag, which is on the Customize tab of your campaign to sync your campaign with your Action Network group. Something called a magic tag is going to be created, which is what connects the two connects your entity on Action Builder to your Action Network activist. The next thing that you can do is sync tags and responses. So you can take responses from Action Builder to be mapped onto tags from Action Network. And then finally, you are able to sync things like custom fields and notes, which are if you have like a blank box on an Action Network form where somebody can enter in some free text, you are able to sync the information from that free text over to a note type field on Action Builder. Okay. So there's some key terminology. Sometimes we use different words between Action Network and Action Builder. So I just wanted to talk about what are some of the equivalents. So in Action Network, when somebody signs a petition or RSVPs to an event, they are considered an activist in Action Network now. On Action Builder, the equivalent is called an entity. We have something called a magic tag that is in both systems. So on both sides, it'll be called a magic tag. On Action Network, if you want to give certain identifiable features to your activist, you use something called a tag. And the equivalent of that on Action Builder is called a response. And then finally, on Action Network, we have something called a custom field. Again, I was talking about how when you have a form and a box where somebody can put in some free text, We can think of that as a response on a note type field in Action Builder. Okay. All right. So, what we are going to do for the rest of the time here is go through a couple of examples and use cases for the Action Network and Action Builder sync. So when to do that, we do have a worksheet that we'll put in the chat. So the first example that we're going to talk through is taking information from Action Builder and bringing it over to Action Network. So in this example, you have an existing campaign on Action Builder with all of your membership contact information, including departments. One of your stewards in the maintenance department has a potential group grievance, so you'd like to get an email sent to everybody in the maintenance department. So Jen or Jeff, if you wouldn't mind dropping this worksheet in the chat. So please feel free to get on this worksheet. What I'm going to do is I am going to click on File and make a copy. And this worksheet is really to help you think through your setup for Action Network and Action Builder. I'm going to use the worksheet to kind of share my thinking when I set up the integration between Action Builder and Action Network, but you should feel free to use the worksheet for whatever makes sense for you. On the worksheet, we have a couple of links. The first one is the basics of setting up the integration, and the second is just some frequently asked questions about the sync. Okay. So I'll give you all like 30 more seconds to copy over the worksheet if you want to follow along. All right, and as a reminder, what we're going to do is we are on an existing campaign with Action Builder with all of your membership contact information, including departments. And one of your stewards in the maintenance department has a potential group grievance, and you'd like to get an email out to everyone in the department. Okay, so the first thing that we want to think about when we're taking information from Action Builder to Action Network is we want to know who we're going to contact. So are we contacting everyone? Are we contacting everyone in a department, everyone on a committee? And for this one, we are contacting everyone in the maintenance department. Um, The next thing that you want to think about is how are the group of people that you want to contact tracked in Action Builder? What do they have in common? So in your Action Builder campaign, you probably have everybody with the response maintenance under the department field. But you could think of it as it could be like everybody who has a certain assessment. It could be everybody who is in the clerical department. It could be like everybody who is marked as an OC member. Um, and then what you want to do is you want to think about how are you going to connect that information from Action Network to Action Builder. Do you already have an Action Network tag that is the maintenance that says that it's a maintenance department? Maybe you need to create an Action Network tag. But here, what I would do is just enter in what are kind of the equivalent tags and responses. So let's say on my Action Network, I have a tag for everyone that is called the maintenance department, and then the Action Network, the Action Builder assessment or response is maintenance. And then finally, to send the email, you want to make sure that everybody with those responses are subscribed in Action Builder. And on Action Builder, you can either subscribe everybody through upload or you can manually subscribe folks on their profile. And after you write your email, make sure that you target the email based off of the Action Network tag. So that's pretty simple when you're talking about targeting a specific email on Action Network. So the second example is going to be a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to go through the full steps of showing you how it plays out on Action Builder and Action Network itself. Okay, so on the next example, we're going to be taking information from Action Network and bringing it over to Action Builder. So let's say that you have been tabling at various events this summer for leads that are interested in forming a union at their workplace. You've had an Action Network form set up and you'd like to get the information from the form onto Action Builder so that you can track follow-ups with these individuals. Okay, so we're going to go back to our copy of our worksheet. And you'll notice that on the worksheet, there's two tabs. So the first one that we did was Action Builder to Action Network tab. The next thing that we'll do is we'll go to the second tab, which is the opposite direction, Action Network over to Action Builder. Okay, so the first question is, what information do you want to gather through Action Network? So we probably want like name and contact information of people who signed the form. Um, we also, when we have a form for leads interested in forming a union, we probably want to know some of their workplace issues. And we know that workplace issues is going to be like a free text box or custom field. And we also want to know, how did they find out about us? Mhm. And this is going to be like a selection from a drop-down list. Okay. Um, the next thing that we're going to think through is, what kind of action network action will you use to collect that information? So we already said that we were going to collect this through an action network form. But you can see that there's other examples right here. Okay. And then we want to think about the equivalence again, right, of the action network tag to the action builder response. So the name and contact information, that's going to be connected through the magic tag. Um, so I'm going to add so name and contact info. This is going to be connected through the magic tag. Okay. The second thing is their workplace issues. So it's going to be a workplace issues custom field. And then the action builder response is going to be a note type field holding the action builder response. And then we have a drop-down list of how they found out about us. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few more rows below. Okay. So let's say one of the ways that they found out about us is through an organizer. So that's a tag that we have set up in Action Network. Um, Maybe another source is an event table. And then finally, let's just do other. So source, great. And then the other things that we want to think about is where the Action Network tag is going to live. So for this second question about how they found out about us, because it's from a drop-down list, we're going to create a tag question. It's going to be a tag question. And then the workplace issues, that's going to be a custom field. And then finally, we want to talk about where you'll place the magic tag. And for the magic tag here, we're just going to place it on the Action Network action itself because we want everybody who fills out the form to be brought into Action Builder. All right, so now I'm going to use this worksheet to guide me in terms of setting up my Action Network and Action Builder sync. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to build out this form on Action Network. So I'm on Action Network now, and I am going to create a form. And we are going to call this form Organize Your Workplace. On Action Network, you can put in information about why organizing now is more important than ever before. Okay, so the important part now is thinking about the form that you're going to collect. So we're going to click on Edit Form. And by default, we already have some contact information here. Let's say that we also want to add a mobile number. And then let's go back to think about their workplace issues. So we want to add their workplace issues, and the workplace issues has already been added here as a custom question. If you want to edit your custom questions, you can click on this edit button and you can add a new question, but we already have one here called work issues that is text area. Right, so I'm gonna click and drag the work issues here. Oops. And then finally, we also want to create a select box question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag this select box question, and we're going to add, how did you hear about us? Okay. And then we have three options, right? We have an event table, we have organizer, and other. And the nice thing in Action Network, when you're creating a tag question, is you can put in a line, which is a shift and then the backslash, and you can put in a tag after. So let's see, source, event table. Right. So let's go ahead and save this. So the part at the before the vertical line is going to be the options. And then the part after the line is the tag that's associated with it. All right. So let's go ahead and save and preview this. Okay. Oh no, I need to edit. Okay. Here. And we'll go ahead and create this form. There's lots of other things that you can edit about the form. I'm going to save and publish it. And here you have your beautiful form where somebody can fill in their name, contact information, talk about their biggest issues at work, and then select how did they hear about us. All right, so we have now completed the first two steps. The next step is going over to Action Builder and setting up the connection. So I have this campaign here set up on Action Builder. That's my leads from summer 2025. I'm going to go over to the Customize tab and then this sub-tab integrations, which is where we'll integrate with Action Network. This has already been turned on. So if you'd like a refresher on how to turn on this part of the Action Network Action Builder Sync, you can find that in the link at the top about setting up the integration, or you can come to a 100 series training. And here we have our magic tag. So what we need to do is we need to copy this magic tag, or we don't need to copy this magic tag. It's already set up in the system. We're going to go back to managing our form. And we're going to edit the tags of the form. And we are going to look for this ABAFL summer leads and select this. So this now means that everybody who fills out this form is now going to have this magic tag put onto them. And then that will tell the Action Network and Action Builder sync to bring this person's contact information from Action Network over to Action Builder. All right, so we have our magic tag set up. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sync our responses. So one of the things that we wanted to find out was how people heard about us. So let's go ahead and select the Action Builder response, which we said there's the organizer response. So we'll select organizer as our response. And then we're going to select the equivalent Action Network tag, which source organizer, and then we'll click this checkbox. And we're going to repeat this with the other two sources. All right, so now whenever somebody selects whichever source they found out about the form from, it will now be marked in their profile where they heard about the lead form. Okay. And then we have one more thing that we want to sync up, which is the workplace issues custom field. So when somebody enters in their workplace issues, they get to write whatever they want about their workplace issues. So what we have set up is something called an Action Network form that I called the Action Network form response. And then we're going to select the custom field, work issues below. Okay, so now we have our sync set up. And whatever people we have signing up on the form is now going to appear on our wall chart. So as a piece of information, the sync does not run continuously. It runs about once every 2 hours. Yeah, so you won't see people filling it up immediately, but about every 2 hours, you'll see people getting added in. All right. And then in order, okay, so let's edit our form. Okay. Oops, I have an error. Oh, here we go. Right. All right, so I think that is everything. I'm gonna pause here and see if we have any questions. All right. All right. Are there any other questions about the Action Network sync? Okay. On the form, one of the tags is the magic tag. Okay, so that is a good question for clarification. So the magic tag will go in the manage form section. So it um, it will be attached to everybody who fills out the form, and but you won't need to put it in this section of the form. Other questions? Right. Let's see. Why can I not copy info from the chat? That is a good question that I don't know the answer to. Um, So there was a question about having Action Network information and trainings in the future. So again, there is a 100 series training that's typically on the third Thursday of the month. We can put a link to that again. Yeah, so somebody had a question about explaining the value of the sync, Shaky on understanding how Action Network and Action Builder interact. So if you're using Action Network consistently, you probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of activists in your system that have signed up with you either through petitions or forms. And maybe you want to follow up with some of those folks that have signed up with you on Action Network. And Action Builder as a tool is a customizable one-on-one conversations tracking tool. And so the sync can take the contact information that you've collected from Action Network and bring it over to Action Builder. Okay. Any other questions? Um, Can responses be set up to send directly to an organizer? Um, Great question. So the responses to a form, they will be set up to be brought over to Action Builder. And Action Builder is a place where you can give access to organizers and they can see the responses there. I don't believe that there is a way to directly email the responses to organizers, but if your organizers are using Action Builder, they should be able to see the responses every time they log in. And then the other question was about retroactivity. So some folks already have forms and now they want to add the magic tag and apply it to people who have already completed the form. So the way to retroactively add a magic tag, I believe, has to be done through mass actions. So if you add the magic tag just to the form now, it'll only be for activists who sign up moving forward. But there is a way to add a tag on Action Network to a mass amount of people, and you can add the magic tag to folks that way. Okay. Question. We have a general bargaining petition that's gone out via a few different emails. We sent out email on the topic of defending hybrid work and got hundreds of signatures from that source email. Is there a way to tag those people on Action Builder as having our special interest hybrid work tag? Yes. So you can use a mass action on Action Network to tag those folks on Action Network first. Then you can create a response on Action Builder that has the special interest hybrid work equivalent response, and you can set up those. You can set up the sync to map that response to that tag, and just need to make sure that everybody on those signatures also has the magic tag. So to reiterate, on those signatures, you'll want to have two tags on those activists. First, the magic tag, and then second, the special interest hybrid work tag. And then when you map it over to Action Builder, you'll make sure that the special interest hybrid work tag is mapped to an equivalent response on Action Builder. Right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much for attending this workshop. A recording of this workshop will be available on our YouTube channel if you want to ever go back and take a look at it. The worksheet that we previously put in the chat, if we want to put it again, is available publicly for view on Google Docs. So you're always welcome to make a copy and use that for pre-work when you're setting up the sync. And we hope to see you at our panel at 1 p.m. with our organizers, as well as our 3 p.m. workshop on training tips and tricks for Action Builder leads. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you later today.